Let's freaking get so. We have a lot to get to, including my Patreon Discord getting really spicy today because they went back and looked at an interview that Koy Moore did before the season. And look, Koy Moore, Auburn wide receiver, looks really good for them. He had an amazing game. He did trip on his own feet in the open field, but Koy's a really good player, right? But he said something pretty ridiculous as we start off here with a very generous super chat from my dear friend Victoria. Thank you so much. Hey, Carter, bring this up when there's a lot of people here, but I'd love to hear your initial thoughts on Koy Moore's interview. Yeah, it was very interesting to say what he said, okay? As we welcome in Tony, Skipper, normal guy. There's a Skipper. Normal guy, what's good? Michael B, what's good? So normally we start at 8, starting it a little bit earlier because I don't want to fully compete against Joe Burrow and the Dolphins tonight. That game obviously kicking off here in just a second. Plus, there are some other things I need to do later this evening. My best buddy currently in Tampa, Brian Kelly, led his press conference, obviously, with our thoughts to everyone in Florida. We got some PHLers in Florida, so I'm going to get on the phone with my buddy a little bit later and check in on everything down there. And obviously, there was a lot of rescheduling in the SEC because of it. Florida, very interesting, a little bit better handled than, during our time. Going back to that debacle, Florida playing Eastern Washington on Sunday, and obviously South Carolina and South Carolina State playing a Thursday night game. We say hi to Alex. We say hi to Black Go T. So what we're going to do is, because Victoria generously super chatted, we do, I'm going to make an announcement here. We do have a guest tonight. He's going to join us a little bit later. I think you will enjoy him very, very, very much. Okay. We say hi to Chris. What's good? And here is the actual interview. Okay. And I included a few little graphics in this interview as well. Here is Koy Moore calling out KAYSHON here with quite literally one of the most ridiculous things I think I've ever heard.
You to make this decision to transfer and jump into the portal, was it just too many guys at the same position, or what was it?
It wasn't about that. In my opinion, I ain't trying to be cocky, and I was the best receiver in that room.
Okay, now that's that. Listen, because KAYSHON he's nice.
Oh no, I know, and I'm better than him for sure.
My guy.
Okay. Oh.
My guy, I love the confidence, man.
He's a great player. I'm not taking away what he did, 300-yard game and things like that. He's a hell of a player. I'm not taking that away from him. But people deep down inside know who was real, who was the real receiver one. If I had the same opportunity as some of those guys, especially having a different OC. A different person that recruited me that was there, he played his guys, so that's what it was. And it just, I played, I started the last 4 games my freshman year and couldn't see the field the next season. So, it just was some odd going on over there. So that's why I realistically left, but it's fine. Okay. That's why I call it a revenge tour.
If Koy Moore is better than KAYSHON, I have a better singing voice than Adele. If Koy Moore is better than KAYSHON, I run a faster 100-meter than Usain Bolt. If Koy Moore is better than KAYSHON, Giggly starting Jennifer Lopez is a better movie than Shawshank Redemption. That's how ridiculous that statement was. Ha, 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 ha. really, I couldn't believe it. Normally, I let those things go, right? I like an athlete who's confident. But what's really interesting is he said the opportunity thing. Him and KAYSHON were in the same recruiting class, the same exact recruiting class. And ironically, you saw the Ole Miss stats that KAYSHON had in one game. 14 catches for 308 yards and 3 touchdowns in one game. By the way, Koy Moore played in that game, and that was one of his better games as well. Koy Moore was on the field during that same game. And ironically, Max Johnson missed Koy Moore for a touchdown in that game, so I will defend Koy in that, right? I'll defend Koy there. But in one game, KAYSHON had as many yards as Koy Moore had in his career, which is 15 games. That was crazy. That was truly insane. Truly insane. I think part of the reason why he transferred is because you say stupid stuff like that. And I know I'm the LSU guy, and Koy Moore's the Auburn guy. Look, I'll give Koy this. He was a solid receiver, but his year, he was the only receiver to average less than 10 yards per catch. He was the only receiver, to me, that had, I believe, he was up there for the most drops that year as well. I think he had 5 drops, depending on, what you consider a drop. Also, Koy Moore got beat out by true freshmen. That is exactly what happened, such as what he said at the end of that quote. So I hope Koy does well versus Auburn, or does well at Auburn when he doesn't play us. I liked Koy coming out. He was a really, really solid prospect, a 4-star prospect. But sometimes when you say something like that, you deserve to get called out. Now, I will give the War Report this. And the funny thing is, the War Report and I got into it on my SEC channel, where they called me out for saying that Brian Harsin is a fraud and not that good. They called me out before the season on my SEC channel. And, well, you've seen what happened. I was right. Brian Harsin doesn't know what he's doing. But I will give the War Report this. They checked KAYSHON on it, or they checked Koy on it. They said, look, KAYSHON's a really nice receiver. Are you sure you want to say this? That's actually really good interview tactics. You should stop. If Jack Besh, who was on my show, if Jack said, hey, I am a better wide receiver than KAYSHON, I would stop and check Jack on that, right? And Jack didn't say that, but if he did, that's what you're supposed to do. But KAYSHON's numbers in one game, Koy Moore has not scored a touchdown yet. Biggest cap I've heard in quite some time. Speaking of biggest caps, my head is so big I've already stretched out my PHL hat. I mean, my noggin is just, ugh. I got this chicken nugget on the back of my head that juts out like a peninsula. And yeah. But here's the funny thing about it. Fins up. Max, that's funny. I'm glad you are joining us for now. I know you're really focused in. It's a big game for the Bengals more than the Dolphins, who are 3-0. The Bengals are favored by 3.5 tonight as well. I will say, as far as like really bad opinions, I did say Tua wasn't going to be a good quarterback this year repeatedly this offseason, and Tua has shut me up. And by the way, the War Report, they have some good content. Shout out to them. And that was good that they checked Koy on that. They said, hey, are you sure you want to say that? And look, I like a receiver who says, hey, I'm the best. But that doesn't mean you don't get checked on it. So I want to shout out a few people. Obviously, Victoria, the super chat to start things off. Max, your super chat as well. And Black Goatee alerting me of this. I had no idea that Koy Moore was on that show. So it's pretty crazy. Now, The funny thing about it, this is a good thing. New dad, KAYSHON, BOUTTE. I hope this gets to him. He might have heard it. He might have not heard it. I hope KAYSHON heard that. Now, truth be told, KAYSHON this year has the same amount of touchdowns as Koy Morris had in his entire career. KAYSHON has yet to score. What better way than to do so versus Auburn? In fact, if I'm not mistaken, KAYSHON's first ever touchdown was a throw from Max Johnson versus Auburn. I might be wrong on that. Somebody check me on that. So, yeah, very, very interesting. So, obviously, starting a little bit earlier tonight, we're going to get to a lot of topics. Obviously, Brian Kelly, just left the podium. Looks like Armani Goodwin will not be available for this weekend. Obviously, you kind of wish Armani was, because he almost went to Auburn. And, he would be pretty psyched up for this opportunity to play against this team. So, yeah, it's very, very interesting. Let me take a look at this really quickly. But ridiculous statements is what makes college football great. Jay Ward and BJ Ojolari will play. I'll put this up. Okay. This via Glenn West of Go247. A lot of you watch the press conference, so you know this already, but let's go ahead and go through here. Eric Dellinger is out. Armani Goodwin is out. Jay Ward is good to go. BJ Ojolari is good to go. Okay? So those are your big things from the Brian Kelly press conference that just ended. Okay? From some of the beat reporters. Bengals winning would upset me like it would any other loss. So what Joe and Jamar did in 2019, I'll forever never root against them besides my Dolphins. Yeah, look, Joe obviously played really well this past weekend. That T. Higgins catch versus the Jets was insane. So that win, in theory, helped you out because obviously you're in the AFC East. Yeah, I think Joe and them are going to take care of business. It's going to be interesting. The Dolphins have really popularized this zero blitz, and Richard Sherman had a tweet about this that went pretty viral. And the Dolphins actually did this on Thursday Night Football last year versus Lamar Jackson. And this is what we did in the final 4 games of the season. We just zero blitzed, all out blitz, zero coverage, man-to-man across the way. And it works. You would not think that this works as much as you think because it is a risky coverage. But all-out blitz, zero coverage man-to-man is more effective than when it's not effective, right? Now, if you throw to the receiver and the DB trips, you're going to score a touchdown. So we'll see. Brian Kelly also said about Armani Goodwin it was a substantial injury. So how long will Armani be out? I don't know. How big of a loss is this for LSU? I don't know. But this is the truth, okay? This is the honest truth. And this is nothing but the truth when it comes to Armani Goodwin, right? Josh Williams is playing, I think, slightly better than Armani. Noah Cain proved himself last week. He scored a very similar touchdown to Armani Goodwin versus Mississippi State, where it was just a run up the middle aided by a bunch of broken tackles. But truth be told, I know he fumbled late. John Emery had a rough game versus Auburn the last time LSU went to Auburn. He missed a big tackle on a fumble recovery touchdown that we gave up early in that game. Just really couldn't get going. He made a penalty on a pass protection mistake as well. If there was ever a time for John Emery, here is yet another opportunity for him. He's going to get to play versus Auburn. we're not going to go wire to wire with just Noah Cain and Josh Williams. This is another golden chance for John Emery to go up against a talented Auburn defense, but they started to wear down versus the run as that game moved on versus Missouri. I know Gary Dellinger's going to be out. That should be a cause for concern because the chemistry on the offensive line has been really good. But if there was ever another opportunity for John Emery that is this golden, it's right here. It is right here. Okay. Now, I know a lot of you, just judging by the Discord, by the way, join patreon.com/LSU football. I have a feeling we're going to get another Discordian tonight. By the way, next PHL t-shirt club member giving out another BJ Ojolari autograph right here. Okay. Next PHL t-shirt club member. We just got a new shipment of shirts in all sizes. Okay. So yeah, it should be very, very interesting. I think we'll see. I think John Emery's going to have another chance here. Okay. Armani is better than the other three. What the F are you smoking? I don't smoke anything. And I don't know how you could say that it is clear that he is better than the other three. By you saying, what the F are you smoking? That would mean that Armani would need to be clearly better than everybody else, which to me, I'll throw it up to everybody watching right now. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Armani Goodwin is clearly LSU's best running back. Type Y for yes, type in for no. By clearly, I mean, I'm saying like, let's say it's Jeremy Hill versus like a Terrence McGee type of player, right? Which was LSU's backfield in 2013. Okay. So Corey, looks as if you are alone in that opinion. It is rare, and you guys know this, that that it is 100% in disagreement. So Corey, obviously, I like this photo of this machinery. I'm always fascinated by big machinery. Or this is a very close-up photo of a very detailed Tonka truck. And I used to have those little Tonka trucks. Corey, you are alone in your opinion here. John Sibley, welcome. Jewel, good to see you. There's J Red. There's Chris, Joshua, Jacob, Tony, Mick. Good evening to you, my friend. Go, bros. I have a feeling. I think it's happening tonight. Oh, it's got a shout out. My God, Jordan. I love it. I have a feeling we're going to get a few new PHL t-shirt club members tonight. There's me and the Skip. It's a crane? Oh, it's a crane. I've always wanted to operate a crane. I think I would be a great crane person. I don't know how you guys do the machinery stuff. So yeah. I love it. What's up, Justin? Good to see you. So I will play the Koy Moore clip here in just a second. We'll do it here in about 5 to 10. A few more things here. I don't think LSU is going to blow Auburn out. I just don't. And we're about to have an Auburn expert on in just a second. A lot of you might be familiar with him. He's been in our chats before. But for me, I just don't think I just don't believe LSU is just going to blow them out. I just don't. I think there's a few things there. I think the Dellinger injury could cause a little bit of chaos up front. I don't think it'll be something you can't overcome, but it is a new alignment where you got to put someone else in there at left guard. But for me, I feel as if LSU is the better team. I just haven't seen LSU play a full 4-quarter game versus a Power 5 team just yet. Now, what I will say is the New Mexico game was a step forward for this team. I know the opponent wasn't the absolute best, but the truth is I feel as if they played better. Jayden threw the ball better. We played an offensive system that's better suited for what we want to do, which is throw the football quickly, get Jayden in a throwing rhythm, and get out there and, take care of business pretty quickly. I also think LSU was aided by some really suboptimal coaching from New Mexico, which helped them get shut out, which, of course, I'll take. Now, will Brian Harsin coach suboptimally versus LSU? I don't know. Ironically, Harsin, when it comes to like fourth down decision making, has actually been really good. He is actually pretty aggro on fourth down. Now, the OC and DC situation there is a mess. But I just think right now, their offensive line just isn't that good. And Robbie Ashford can't throw. He simply cannot throw. And that's a problem right at that position. So we shall see. Muddy Field, no, the weather actually looks good. Okay. I like that word. Vibrant. You agree, Joel? Don't forget, please subscribe if you haven't already. Please hit the like button. Once again, we want you to join the PHL T-shirt club. We want you to join the PHL Patreon. Okay? It obviously helps big time. Patreon.com/LSU football. Okay? So, Cliff, good to see you. Also say this, it's rare that one player makes your team just a lot better. But I will say this. It is very interesting how much Harold Perkins has made this team better. Harold has made this team a lot better. And it's not just him making plays. It's just the variety he brings to this team. Okay. So, he just lines up all over the place. I was doing a one-on-one Zoom call with the Patreon. So if you join the Patreon, I do one-on-one calls with basically everybody. And if they choose to do it, no, you don't have to do it. We were talking about what Harold Perkins does on defense. It's just the chaos he can cause a quarterback mentally because you don't know where he's going to line up. Okay? So it's honestly just that simple. I find him to be very interesting. Scholar athlete, obviously. A lot of you saw that. And he's just been the absolute best when it comes to just learning and picking up everything. And he's only getting better week by week. Let's see. Mason Smith ain't hurt us either. LSU's a better defense with Mason Smith than without him. Yeah, I mean, look, I love me some Mason Smith, but our scheme is what's really taken us to the next level. I think Matt has done a really good job, but it's also our athletes. Let's be honest. Jay Ward is a different football player than what he was last year, and we saw it in the spring game. He's a good tackler, right? He had one bad tackling game, and he struggled with tackling somebody who's 6'7". So I'm going to give him a little bit of a break there. He's playing better. He's playing as good as you possibly can play, honestly, even though he didn't play this last game. And there's honestly, and this has kind of been a shock to me, Joe Fouché is getting a lot of hype here, okay? You know, the Major Burns injury, he won't play, and he'll be out for about a month now, month plus. Nobody is making a big deal about Major Burns because everyone feels really comfortable about Joe Fouché. So it's very interesting. The suspension was very interesting. It was kind of bizarre. Like 4 games, you know, there's very little concreteness when it comes to what an academic suspension actually means. How many games should it be? I don't know. So Blanchard's obviously really high on Joe Fouché. I'm really high on Joe Fouché as well. I will also say this. It's kind of hard to play better than what our safeties were playing, though. I mean, Major Burns has been really good for us. Jay Ward's been really good for us. I also think if you go back and look at a lot of our film studies from last year, I hated our safety placement. We're allowing our safeties to run downhill to make plays instead of making them be flat-footed defenders in the box. We're disguising things a little bit better, I feel. So yeah, I like it, Blanche. Thank you so much for your generosity. I really appreciate it. Okay. There you go. Tell them about it, Skip. I love it. He'll be back. Yeah, I don't have to worry about that. He will be back. Jeffrey, what's good, man? Good news. Where do I buy my cards? Well, these are actually donated. These few right here that I'm giving out are actually donated by a viewer to give out on the channel, including this BJ Ojolari. I actually send them to people on the channel that have kids. I've done that a few times as well. I do a football card show, Jeffrey, as well, where I talk about how I go about buying my football cards. So if you want to know more about that, shoot me a message at Power Hour LSU. But Jeffrey, look at this. Because you're inquisitive about football cards, I'll send you this BJ Ojolari if you join our PHL Patreon. Okay? That's all I got to do. $9.99 a month. You get in our Discord. You get our film studies. I dropped a Garrett Nussmeier film study where I broke down all of his throws. Talked about the Malik Neighbors miss as well. There was some disagreement on the miss as well, which I like. I like disagreement. So yeah, you get extra film studies. I did my detailed breakdown on Auburn's roster as well. That's all there on Patreon. You get a lot of perks. Trust me. Huey, pretty simple. You have any questions? PowerHourLSU@gmail.com, or you can shoot me an Instagram or Twitter DM at PowerHourLSU. I'll show you all the information on how to get the merch and all of that. So there you go. Mark, those are currently being made right now. They are in production. So yeah. There you go. Best freaking shirts ever. And all I wear is good shirts. There you go. Yeah, so this has kind of been a question that's been asked a few times about the Matt House situation. If he wants to take, like, does he get a head coaching job somewhere else? Okay. Here's why he's going to be here at least an extra year. The first thing is the trend is to hire offensive coaches instead of defensive coaches anyway. The second thing is there's not many jobs, head coaching jobs, unless you just really want to be a head coach, that are better than the LSU defensive coordinator job, right? He's making over 7 figures just to call defense and recruit. He doesn't have to do booster schmoozing. I mean, I'm sure there's some of that, but he doesn't have to do press conferences. I know he does some of that as well, but it's different. You get to be you just get to coach football. So there are a lot of perks that come with being a college football coach that is not the head coach. The head coach, it is a 24/7, 366 job. So for me, I get it. I get why Matt House would want to just be the LSU defensive coordinator. Like for Dave Aranda, there was nothing else for him to accomplish. He had already made a lot of money, but he was here 4 years, right? Which is pretty good. So, I wouldn't worry too much about any of that as far as like Matt House taking another job. So there you go. 24-13. That seems like a pretty good score. Yeah, Mr. Nutsbus, it has been a little bit of an unlucky run on injuries. Okay. So if any of you have questions, football cards, Patreon, merch, you can email me, powerhourlsu@gmail.com, or you can shoot me an Instagram or Twitter message at powerhourlsu as well. So there you go. I'll definitely help you. I'll send you a link to my football card show, Jeffrey, if you want that as well. Very smart, though, to not just jump in because it can get very expensive, trust me. Okay, so I have a lot of you asking what Koy Moore said. Type Y for yes, type in for no. If you, I already played the clip, but I'll play it again. Type Y for yes, type in for no if you want to play it. I'll play it if we get another super chat. How about that? I kind of don't want to play it again because it's just, it does kind of make them look bad. That's okay. Sure, he doesn't care what I have to say. And that's fine. Let's see. I want to make sure I welcome everybody in. Alex, good to see you. Tony said, and I could dunk on Shaq. Edward O, good evening, buddy. I'm looking at you. Boom. I'm looking at you. Boom. Boom. I'm looking at you. I love it. Cordy Gelada. That is a name. I like the mustache, man. Welcome to the channel, Cordy Gelada. Why did they wait 2 games for the suspension? What do you mean? I'm curious. What does that mean? Doug with the super chat. Thank you so much. Walter, what's good, man? Rob G. All right, because Rob G and Doug is bullying me. And he's making me play this clip again. Okay? So as Victoria pointed out a little bit earlier, I did put some edits in here. And I do believe this was sent to me before the live stream actually began. I do believe this interview was done before the season, but the point still stands. The fact that he even said this before the year, and Koy's playing well right now for Auburn. And look, we'll see. If Koy really means this, we'll see if he can actually prove it on the field.
To make this decision to transfer and jump into the portal, was it just too many guys at the same position, or what was it?
It wasn't about that. In my opinion, I ain't trying to be cocky and nothing. I was the best receiver in that room.
Okay, now that's that. Listen, because KAYSHON he's nice.
Oh no, I know, and I'm better than him for sure.
My guy.
Okay. Oh,
my guy. I love the confidence, man.
He's a great player. I'm not taking away what he did, 300-yard game and things like that. He's a hell of a player. I'm not taking that away from him. But like people deep down inside know who was real, like who was the real receiver one, if I had the same opportunity as some of those guys, especially having a different OC, a different person that recruited me that was there. You know what I mean? He played his guys, so that's what it was. And it just, I played, I started like the last 4 games my freshman year and couldn't see the field the next season. So, it just was some odd going on over there. So that's why I realistically left. But it's fine. Okay. That's why I call it a revenge tour.
I'm not trying to be cocky or nothing, but I'm better at basketball than LeBron James. I'm not trying to be cocky or nothing, but I make better Creole seasoning than Tony's. I can keep going on and on and on. So there you go. Y'all should thank Rob G for making me play it again. And Doug knows. I don't know. I don't know why. It doesn't bother me too much. I just don't want to play it again. It's water under the bridge. Oh, well. Koy Moore got that dog in him. Thank you so much, Hit Stick, for your generosity. 7 strap up. We playing man all game. We shutting that great value Tiger up. Hey, I am a proud consumer of great value products, but that is great. Look, Koy Moore played hard for us. He worked hard. His work ethic is pretty well noted. I like Koy. I've talked to his trainer before. But man, you're trashing KAYSHON there. And I'm going to defend KAYSHON. Now, KAYSHON doesn't need to defend me. He's not worried about me. He's worried about Auburn and his kid, right? But you're trashing a man who in one game versus Ole Miss, nearly matched your career yard total in your entire 15-game career. And by the way, in that game versus Ole Miss, you played. I just can't believe that. I can't believe you go on an interview like that and say that. You didn't get the same opportunity. You were in the same recruiting class as KAYSHON. If you're better than him, why didn't they target you more than they target KAYSHON? It's just simple. He got passed up. He had an issue staying on his feet, right? Keep your feet. You're a better receiver when you're on your feet. He struggled with staying on his feet. But I'll tell you this. Last week, he looked good. He looked good. He had some pop in this game. He looked really good. So we'll see. If number 0's got a chance to prove it this next weekend. Okay? But I like it. So, truth be told, this was an interview before the season, though. Okay? I'm bringing it up again because now's the time. Prove it. Okay? Now, he did quit in the middle of he did transfer in the middle of the season, but I get it. I understood why he transferred. He saw the writing on the wall. right? LSU had 3 bona fide true freshman receivers that were better than him, right? And Deion Smith passed him up as well. So, this is just the truth. Koy Moore wouldn't have got passed up at pretty much every other SEC school not named LSU, right? Maybe a few others, but it's hard to play wide receiver at LSU. It's hard. It's really, really, really hard. Now, Skipper says, I only listened to that clip of the interview. He said, I can't believe he said our DBs will take cheap shots at him. The funny thing about it is none of our DBs probably even know who he is, right? They weren't on the team. They weren't even on the team. I don't know if any outside of Jay Ward, there's not many of our DBs that were playing. So it is very, very interesting. Smoking that sour. I like that. I still can't get over great value. I love it. But yeah, if you're just joining us, Armani Goodwin out, Major Burns out, Garrett Dellinger out. Other than that, it's all systems go. You got KAYSHON coming off a bye week for him. B.J. Ojolari coming off a bye week for him. Jay Ward coming off a bye week for him. Feel pretty good. Now, the issue here is there are probably some people who wonder, and I'm one of those people as well, how healthy is Jayden? I think he's fully healthy, but he did take some shots last week, and you guys did see the film study last week. I am a little concerned, and I'm not just concerned for LSU. I'm concerned for everybody. The style in football now is to wear a baggy undershirt. Okay? That's the style. But if you're a skill position guy, people can drag you down by your undershirt. And that's what happened last week with our guy, Jayden Daniels, our QB. He ran. The defender chased him down, grabbed him by the undershirt, caught him, and was able to get a better grasp of him and slam him into the turf. So I'm a little worried about that. Not gonna lie, a little worried about Jayden. If there's any after effects from that, and it's not so much if he's actually just hurt. It's just if those things do begin to pile up during this long run of SEC opponents that we're going to play. Okay, so we shall see. But Hitstick does bring up a good point here. This is a good opportunity for Sevyn Banks, right? You're fresh. Our DBs have played a lot of football. Obviously, Jarek Bernard-Converse is playing at a really high level for us. He played safety last game. It's going to be a lot of snaps open. Obviously, I think Gardner's really good. He was my predicted CB1 this year. Okay? You know, we shall see. Go Bro 7. Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. Yeah, if Koy Moore on an NFL draft board would be the first time I've seen him on an NFL draft board. Hey, that's fine. You know, for some receivers, they have to have the alpha mentality that you're the best player on the field. And once again, I'll say this about Koy. You got to give credit where credit is due. He had a good game last week. I'll give him that. He had a pretty good game. Tripped on his feet on a screen, though. But still, he played well. Jared, everybody's doing it. Big Mac, what's up, man? Reminds you of the Auburn safety that said Leonard Fournette wasn't that great. Lucky Logan, good to see you. Look at him rocking the PHL gear, baby. Let's go. I love that. Huh? Look at that. I wanted to show you guys this. It's so wild to me. So we're still trying to get something cleared up about there were some people in Tiger Stadium rocking the PHL gear this weekend. I love it. I love shouting everybody out that rocks the gear. And if you rock PHL gear, send me photos. And guess what? You'll get on the screen. Get on the big screen. I don't know. I think in a perfect world, you want Sevyn Banks to be on the field in some way because he just has a lot of championship experience. Okay. I think the thing for Colby is, the physicality of the game can get to him. When I watched him at McNeese, the tackling wasn't great. And I think that can overwhelm him. How's Jalen Davis Robinson's play been? He's just played very little, but I actually do like him a lot. Obviously, athletically, coming in, a sub 11 100-meter guy, just amazing athleticism coming in. He's been obviously, really good, in practice. Now, we haven't seen him play all that much because there's a lot of experienced guys, but I think he's going to be a big player for them next year. That's pretty huge, considering, Ray Darius Jones, is out for the year. He's pretty buried on the depth chart, but I think he could give you some snaps if you absolutely needed it. One guy I find to be very interesting is Demarius McGee. He is very active on the sideline. He was a really good recruit coming out of Florida. I'm interested what's in his future, right? There's a lot of these 4-star DBs for LSU that just kind of get lost in the shuffle, right? Obviously, Jordan Tolles transferred to, I think, Morgan State. Derek Davis Jr. is a special teamer. He rarely plays. Demarius McGee is someone that, is a very interesting player. So, Yeah, I think Jalen Davis Robinson has a really bright future. I do. So this is always cool. This is Marcus rocking the PHL gear. Gotta love it, man. Throwing up the mails for them Tigers, baby. So there you go. No wide receiver on Auburn has scored a TD in a game. None. So interesting. Yeah, so I was a big proponent on Auburn season win total being under. I actually didn't play it, and I'm glad I didn't because I would have been furious at the ending of that Missouri game if that was the case. But that's not what happened. Yeah, I mean, Auburn has just looked bad. You know, the San Jose State game was a mess. Got blown out by Penn State. The Missouri win was the luckiest win I think I've ever seen in my life in the SEC. How many breaks they got to win that game at the end was just crazy. But look, they're a talented team. Hall is one of the best defensive linemen in the country, number 29. Papo is one of the best linebackers in the SEC. Owen Papo, really good football player. And Tank Bigsby is as talented as any running back as you're going to see in the SEC. He can really play. So, yeah, we better come strapped up and ready to go. Let's see. Let's go. Some clap emojis for John Sibley Butler. Thank you so much for your generous donation. I really appreciate it. Will TJ have a real focus if he plays? Is TJ bad or can he get hot? Homeboy TJ. So I'm sure you're referring to TJ Finley. He is out. He will not play versus LSU. Now, the second part of this question is complicated because I like TJ personally. If you play for LSU, I'm always going to be a fan of you in some form or fashion. If you're a Louisiana 3-star, I'm always going to root for you just in general, right? TJ's not that good, though. He's not that good. In order for TJ to succeed, everything has to be perfect. The protection has to be perfect. The drive has to be perfect. The running game has to be perfect. Now, there were some times for LSU that TJ played really well, right? The Arkansas comeback was really, really impressive. The drive, the throw to Dre. And he's never gotten the opportunity to play behind a great offensive line, even in high school. So, you know, I sympathize for TJ there. But, you know, I would fear Auburn more with Robbie Ashford at quarterback than I would TJ Finley because Ashford can run. He can really, really, really run. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, what I want you to do, we got a special guest joining us. All right. And he can't put his face on the screen. But he is someone who's put his face on the screen quite a few times. Well, look, he's putting his face on the screen now. I like it. He's someone that we've known for quite some time. He's super chatted a few times. I want some clap emojis for our guest this evening. None other than Vernon Speaks Auburn. Look at you, man. War eagled out. What's up, Vernon? How are you, man? Do we have Vernon? Let's see. I think he froze up there. What's up, Vernon? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Power Hour. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Well, first off, I want to say thank you for supporting our channel.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
excellent channel.
And you do some great stuff. Vernon Speaks Auburn. I see your War Eagle down. I guess, the first question here from an Auburn perspective, how is everyone feeling about Brian Harsin? Does the Auburn fan base want him gone?
Well, the thing is with Brian Harsin, I think, there's not a situation where you necessarily want him gone, but you just feel like he's going to be gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, hey, I want to get rid of Brian Harsin, because you look at the guy, he presents himself well. He talks great in the conferences and in the press conferences. He exemplifies everything you want in a coach. But then when you look at the output on the field, it's like, I don't necessarily want him gone, but I don't think this is my choice here.
Right.
That's just where they're at. I mean, if you look at, how he talks about the preparation and all of those different things, you would think that there's going to be a solid result. But, I mean, you look at Power 5 competition over the last 6 or 7 games, they can absolutely not score in the second half. And that's why I'll save it for later.
Oh, okay. The prediction. I got that. Let's say Brian Harsin, there was a rumor out about AJ McCarron reporting that he was already been told he's fired, and then it was reported that it wasn't true, that he hasn't been told anything. Do you think he finishes the year as the Auburn Tigers head coach?
I'll tell you what, my heart of hearts thinks he does.
Okay.
I think he might be competitive in this LSU game and figures out a way to play great football against a very impressive. I don't care what y'all say. I think this LSU team is very impressive, but Auburn can't tank this though. Auburn can't lose this game by 3 touchdowns and think that Brian Harsin's the guy. That's just the reality of the situation, especially considering the outcome of the Missouri game, which was I'm glad we won, but it was a very disappointing outcome.
Yeah. So I've met Alan.
Hey,
Green.
You better be glad I like you, because I was not about to come on camera tonight. Man, I love this show. But shout out to the LSU fans. This show is incredible, man. Thank you for having me on.
Well, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your support. So I'll tell you this. I've met Alan Green before, and I knew him. I emailed him back and forth a few times when he was still at Buffalo.
Okay.
And I was so for those that don't know, he was the athletic director who left before this football season began. That was interesting. Full disclosure, I've not talked to Alan since he decided to leave or whatever. But is there something about Auburn that makes it a difficult job? Because we hear the story about all the hands in the cookie jars with all the powerful boosters, and the head coach search is always a mess. The Brian Harsin search was a mess. Do you feel there's too much of that at Auburn?
Well, here's what I do know. I'm not a big booster I'm not all that stuff. But here's the thing. Auburn is a very difficult place to coach a very, very good football team, because for one, you have LSU, who recruits well anyway. They're the only team in that state that, the LSU is a great football team to go to. And then you look at the fact that Auburn's biggest rivals are always in the college football playoff, Georgia and Alabama. They are a tough, Auburn is a tough place to have surmountable success. You look at Gus Malzahn. He went to the SEC championship a couple of times. And, before that, it's just when you have LSU on your roster, schedule-wise, you have Alabama and Georgia guaranteed every year. It's a tough place to be ultimately successful. And just like the late kick said, in the SEC, there's not a lot of wins to go around. And when you look at Auburn, it ain't. You got Mississippi State that can sneak up on you. You got Ole Miss that can sneak up on you. Then you got LSU, who is always good. But I look at LSU as that sleeping giant. They can either beat you, or you can mess around and catch them on a bad day with all that talent and blow them out. It just all depends. That's the thing about LSU that really intrigues me, is that they have access to some of the best players in the country, but if you get them in the wrong coaching situation, you can blow some 5-stars out.
Yeah. Which was the case last time. Talking to Vernon Speaks to Auburn. Make sure you check him out on YouTube. Does some great stuff over there. Let's talk about this game. Obviously, TJ Finley won't play, so Robbie Ashford is going to be the guy. What should people know about number 9 at QB?
I think number 9 is a very talented, obviously very talented football player. He can do great things with his legs. Given the right situation, he can do some great things with his arms. But I think there's going to be some mentality issues with Robbie Ashford in this football game. And I talked about that in my prediction show, in the fact that, in a game like LSU or SEC football, you're going to make some mistakes.
Right.
In this particular game, Robbie Ashford is going to make a catastrophic mistake. I can already predict it. But here's the situation with Robbie Ashford is, with his personality, how does he get over the mentality of, damn, I screwed up. How do I move on? And with a game like this, as fast as it's going to be moving, you got to move on quick. So if Robbie Ashford can't get over the mentality of making a mistake and beating himself up and not being the ultimate leader that he needs to be, that's where my prediction on my channel, that's why I did that prediction, because I don't trust Robbie Ashford to be able to overcome the adversity.
Koy Moore said he was better than KAYSHON BOUTTE. I know Koy's looked good, but do you agree with that?
No. KAYSHON BOUTTE, given the right situation, is, in my opinion, one of the best wide receivers in the SEC. I don't understand. I even did this on my prediction show tonight. Why doesn't he touch the ball more? When he touches the ball, some crazy, great things happen. So I'm going to tell you what, Auburn is really good at this. Auburn is good at giving a player that's struggling their breakout game. They're good at it. So just expect KAYSHON BOUTTE to have his breakout game, 5 or 6 receptions for 124 yards, because that's what Auburn does. He's been hiding out, but like I said, you all are literally the sleeping giants in the SEC.
I like some of the pieces on Auburn's defense. I like Papo a lot, number 0. I like Hall, 29. Very good defensive lineman. He had the safety last year against Arkansas, and he just tore us up last year versus LSU.
He did.
Where is this Auburn defense right now, after they kind of sort of fell apart last week against Missouri?
Well, I wouldn't consider it a fall apart. I think, the first half you had that situation where Auburn goes up 14-0, and then, collapses with the 14-14 halftime score. Auburn didn't allow any points for Missouri in the second half. So I think that gives them some confidence to go into this LSU game, to make them feel like, we kind of escaped one. We got a chance to live to fight another day. Auburn's defense, I wouldn't say is absolutely not elite, but if you give these guys some momentum, they can give you some problems. Iko Leota actually gives some pressure on the edge. I think, Derek Hall has the opportunity to continue to do what he does. And really what I want to see is some elite play. Well, not elite play, but just some solid play from the interior of the defensive line. And I think you might see that this week.
Why has the offensive line struggled so much? Tank has done what he can this year. He's broken a ton of tackles, but man, whether it be pass blocking or run blocking, it seems like they just can't get a rhythm.
Well, you have the situation where Auburn center decided to retire.
Yeah.
And if you know about the SEC as far as the interior line, if you're shaky in the center guard, because if you go back and look at film, if you look at film, most of the pressure of the quarterback comes right up the middle.
Right up the gut.
And it's those delayed blitzes, because they know Auburn does not really have a good center and they don't have a solid guard. So you can expect I think LSU has some of the more elite talent as far as defensive linemen. And if those guys get loose, that's where I think that mistake from Robbie Ashford is going to come from. That's what I'm afraid of. I've been watching these guys all week, and I watched them in the Florida State game, and I was like, you know what? I do not like this, because I know Auburn's offensive line is not where they need to be as far as an elitism status in the SEC, and especially you guys. Even I think LSU even sleeps on the talent that you have. You got a great football team. I think you got a football team that can, if you can find a way to break this streak that you got against Auburn. They whipped you in what was it, 2020?
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, and then they had the improbable win in 2021. If you guys can find a way to exploit Auburn's, all but deficient offensive line, how the hell did you lose to Florida State? That's what you got to be asking yourself. You know, you could be looking at an undefeated LSU team. I was very impressed with them. And I'm telling you, if you guys can't ease out of Auburn, you missed an opportunity, bro.
Yeah, I mean, this is as low as Auburn's been, and the LSU now is looking, really
they look
solid.
good. They look good.
You know what's interesting? I saw I've also thought Carlson was a good field goal kicker. I mean, how's he been this year? I know the Missouri game was kind of up and down.
Well, the one kick that he had that he missed, to be honest with you, I think it was a distraction. There was a penalty that was called.
Yeah.
And he missed that kick. I think that's what that was.
Okay.
The others, I can't really vouch for those. But I'm going to go back to LSU real quick. Some things that I'm really impressed with, how, a lot of folks were like, well, your new coach, I can't think of his name right now, but your new
Brian
coach,
Kelly.
Brian Kelly, he doesn't associate with, look, I thought LSU was represented pretty well here in the first few weeks. Playing very well against a good Florida State team. And, you look at a win against Auburn on the road, even though Auburn is struggling, but you got to think about the psychology of winning. And then you got to think about the psychology of winning on the road against a team that you haven't beat in a little while. You could be looking at a dangerous team in the SEC West if LSU can figure out a way to get through that night Jordan-Hare crowd, which they usually can't.
It's tough.
Les Miles blew it. He had a better talented team than Auburn that year that lost. And I'm intrigued. I predicted Auburn. Well, I ain't gonna say it yet. Let's keep rolling.
Okay, well, really quickly before we get to your prediction, you obviously keep up with all the SEC teams. You guys have to play Georgia and Alabama. I know those are the two favorites right now to win the entire SEC.
Yeah, for sure.
Who do you think will win the SEC this year?
To be honest with you, I think Georgia has one of the more talented teams, and they've been able to figure it out pretty quick, especially with all of the players lost. Oh man. And to be able to recover the way they have with the ass whooping that they gave Oregon.
Yeah.
And, you look at situations where they just dominated South Carolina. They struggled a little bit with Kent State, had a lot of turnovers there. If I was going to say a team that has the best opportunity to win the SEC, I would have to lazily, I would say just lazily, with all the talented teams in the SEC, I think Ole Miss is good. I think Texas A&M.
I think we lost him there for a second. I wanted to ask him.
I'm back.
There you go.
I think LSU can sneak up on you. The SEC is going to be pretty tough, but my goodness, I got to go with Georgia. They are the most talented team in the SEC, and they have the best opportunity based on their experience. They got a great quarter. Well, I'm I'm not sold on Stetson Bennett, but he's in a great situation. I'll just say that much.
Yeah, no, Stetson can play.
Yeah.
Ed gives you a compliment here. Vernon butters his bread very well, sloops it on. Are you a big butter your bread? I've never really understood that phrase, butters his bread. I've never, but there you go. Yeah, Kirby just coaching loose now, man. He's got Brock Bowers.
The thing with Kirby Smart is he got that national championship. That's all they wanted.
That's all they
so
needed.
Now he's like, hey, it's a smooth sailing from here.
He said he froze when he's saying Texas A&M was good. I think Auburn's going to beat A&M this year. When do y'all play them? Because I hate Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, I think that's
That's y'all play them towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that. So now we get to the prediction time. We'll let you, if you want people to go check out your channel prediction and you don't give it here, we could do that. Or you can
that's okay. I mean, I'm good.
Go ahead.
I purposely did that show before I came on here. So I mean,
yeah.
So we're good.
So go check out Vernon's full prediction at Vernon Speaks Auburn. But Vernon, go on ahead, man. Let us know how you think the game's going to play out.
I'll tell you what, I like LSU. I like Auburn in certain points. I think Auburn is a team that still hasn't found their identity yet. The struggles on the offensive line, LSU, I think, is starting to emerge as a competitor in the SEC, not necessarily for the SEC Conference Championship. I just think with the quarterback situation, not having any identity at the wide receiver position for Auburn, not being able to give Tank Bigsby the touches that he needs, the effectiveness that he needs. LSU I just think is a very talented football team. I got LSU 28-10, and that's what I predicted on my channel.
There you go, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. What all do you have up? I love your Auburn backdrop. So someone asked you this earlier. How did you become an Auburn fan?
Well, as a matter of fact, I grew up as a Florida State fan, ironically.
Wow.
And and the thing is, I actually went to college at Auburn. I got a degree from Auburn.
Nice.
And good. I always liked Auburn, but I just always liked them. I was like, okay, if they beat Alabama, I always wanted them to win, but I became a diehard Auburn fan after being because here's the thing. I started out college-wise at Alabama A&M University.
Okay.
Then I transferred to Auburn. And when I felt that culture and when I felt how passionate these guys were, and you wouldn't believe it, when I became a diehard Auburn fan was in 2004, I think. Ironically, when we beat LSU after Hurricane Ivan, when we shouldn't have beat them, and then we wound up going undefeated. That's when I became a diehard Auburn fan. And with LSU, for example, the reason why I'm big on this game, because during the time that I was in school, Auburn had beaten Alabama like 6 games straight. So the LSU and Auburn game had become a thing. So that's why, to be honest, I look forward to this game more because during that time when I became an Auburn fan, Auburn and LSU were a bigger rivalry at that time because of how the game's outcomes were.
Cadillac and Ron Brown, those teams, Jason Campbell, those teams are fun. I went to that Sugar Bowl.
Yep.
But I want to ask you this. I don't think Harsin's going to be the coach next year. I have nothing against him. Obviously, all this stuff this offseason, which is crazy.
Right.
I mean, I know Deion Sanders is going to be rumored for every big head coaching job. Would that work? Would you be on board with that? Who would be your perfect hire?
Deion Sanders, I mean, in my opinion, I think given certain elements, I think he'd be the perfect candidate. I mean, you were able to get one of the top cornerbacks in the country to commit to Jackson State, who traditionally are not. I mean, Jackson State is not even traditionally a powerful FCS school. So for you to have that kind of influence to bring a guy there that was committed to, I'll say this, I've never heard of a FCS school flipping a #1 cornerback from Florida State. I've just never heard of that. So if we could get that kind of production, that would be great. I just don't think Deion Sanders is going to be the guy. Yeah. To be honest, with the things that with the guys that are out there, you know, I'm just gonna have to keep searching. I don't want to give a bullshit answer out there to say who I think is going to be the guy when I honestly don't know.
It's hard to know. Let me ask you this: Auburn head coach Lane Kiffin.
You know, to be honest, with the offense that we have, that has been pretty vanilla, and people think that we're no, I think this offense is just vanilla.
Yeah, I agree.
To be fair, I don't necessarily like Lane Kiffin, but he gives you a chance.
Right.
He gives you a chance.
He's Gus, right? He's a guy that's going to have a system. And I think I've shared this with you before.
Yeah.
I'm a big Gus guy. Like,
the people on my channel thought that I was dogging Gus. I absolutely was not. I like Gus, and I wanted him to be successful. I thought he deserved another year, but hey.
Where Gus fell off was hiring Chad Morris. I will never forgive Gus for that. I've always been pro Gus. I've been one of Gus's biggest supporters, because I always cheer for these high school coaches that miraculously worked their way up to Power 5 Division I football. It is miraculous that he's even where he is right now.
It really is.
Like, but when you hire Chad Morris, you don't know what you're doing. And I was like, Gus, you deserve to lose your job after that, because Chad was the worst SEC coach ever. And that was just bad. Well, Vernon, I appreciate you. Vernon Speaks Auburn is where you can go check out his channel. I know you're very busy, obviously putting out content, and I really appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon, okay?
Yeah, that's no problem. Thank you, sir. You have a good night. Take care.
And we'll talk soon, okay? There you go. Vernon Speaks Auburn. There you go. Make sure you go give him a subscription. I'm telling you, the Lane Train. And on my SEC channel, I badgered Lane Kiffin for trashing Auburn fans for leaving early. I will always, 99% of the time, side with the fans that leave early. While I don't agree with it, you did buy the ticket to go. It is college football. It's entertainment. You can do whatever you want, right? With that said, if the Ole Miss fans don't stay till the end of the game for an 11 a.m. game when your team is undefeated and Kentucky's undefeated, there is an issue. Okay? There is a major, major, major issue. Exactly. And that's what you have to do at Auburn. As Vernon said, it's not hard. You have to play Georgia and Alabama every year. That sucks. Those are the two best programs, period, right now. The only one you can argue is Ohio State. The only one you can argue in that vicinity. But that's who Auburn plays every year. Every year. That's not including LSU. That's not including the rest of the West. There's no bad team in the West. There's no real bad head coach in the West outside of who Auburn has right now. Hmm. Walter, I mean, obviously, most programs with the right coach can be, but truth be told, Walter, I don't think so. I just don't. Number one, I think politically Auburn is a difficult job, just because there's so many hands in the cookie jar there. The second thing is, yes, Auburn has won national championships and been to national championships. Okay. But, those national championships were miraculous in nature. Obviously, the Cam Newton year, that was a generationally good quarterback. But I think the stat was there wasn't a single player on Cam Newton's offense that played a snap in the NFL. None of his skill guys, Ontario, McCaleb, any of those guys, did not play a snap in the NFL. And they had Nick Fairley on defense, right? Now, Michael Dyer was a good running back, but still. So that was miraculous. And, kind of like what Alan said a minute ago, it's kind of smoke and mirrors, right? Nick Marshall at quarterback, which is just nuts. Absolutely nuts. That Nick Marshall was a quarterback of a national championship team or national championship finalist team. And they had the miracle versus Georgia and the miracle versus Alabama. So, they had a lot of things happen for them to get to the other national championship. Now, it's not me saying that they can't win a lot of games. They obviously recruit really well. But if the schedule remains where they have to play Alabama and Georgia every year, and no one else has to play those two programs every year, you can't. It's nearly impossible. So there you go. All right. Well, we have reached the hour and a half mark. I'll keep this thing going for the next 5 to 10 minutes. I'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting stuff. Rob, I see you, man. What's up, Breed? I mean, what else is Koy going to say? He should believe in himself. Yeah, but this doesn't apply, right? If the question to Koy Moore was, were you the best wide receiver in LSU's room? And he responded with his answer that, yes, I was. That's a little bit different. But the question that the War Report asked him was, why did you leave LSU? He said I was the best wide receiver in that room, which doesn't quite make a lot of sense. So, I normally agree with the what else was he going to say response. Like, if someone went up to Joe Burrow before the game and said, hey, are you going to beat the Dolphins tonight? And he said, yeah, then true. What else are you going to say? But I do agree with you, Reed, on this, that he won't get drafted and that he should believe in himself. I do agree with that. But it was a bizarre way to answer that question. Very bizarre. What's up, Rob? Good to see you. Hit the like button. There you go. Shout out all our super chatters tonight. Max, Victoria, Blanche, Rob, Doug, Hitstick, John Sibley, Walter. Really appreciate you. Good evening to you. Well, there you go. Go Bro 7. Here you go. There's your answer. Late to chat. Will KAYSHON play this weekend? He will. So there you go. Go Bro 7. I did a full Arkansas versus Alabama preview. It is right there in that link. So make sure you check it out. Okay. Now, you know one thing I would have to say? The only thing. And by only thing, Tyler being a super dad. Now, I will say this. There's nothing better than being a super dad. Okay? But you know one thing that I just love? I just love excellence. I just love excellence. But what else is excellent? I think Tyler knows. I think every single one of you know what is absolutely fantabulously excellent in this world. Okay? There she is to retain her crown. PretsyCollection.com. Queen LA Bomb. King Pressy Collection. Look at that. Pressy Collection, PretsyCollection.com. Some people just want it all. But let's be honest. The ladies want the diamond rings. Some people want diamond rings. Yeah, most people actually do. That's what Pressy Collection, PretsyCollection.com can bring a baby. Bling, bling. Diamond rings. PressyCollection.com. If you want a one-on-one consultation with Anthony Starr Presley, you can obviously just hit me up. I'll get you all linked up. You can get your engagement ring, get you bling bling, a chain, a watch, a ring for the side piece, main piece, piece. Pressy Collection, PressyCollection.com. How concerned are you about the center position with Dellinger out? Well, Charles Turner will remain the starter at center. So Charles has obviously done well. Once again, he still can get bull rush some. But yeah, I mean, I think Turner will be fine. Last year, though, our center had issues versus Auburn in particular. And what I think Auburn's going to do is they are going to try and bull rush our center with a zero tech right over Charles Turner's face, especially considering that Dellinger's out. So yeah, Dellinger being out at left guard, it does concern me a little bit, but you know, Shorts and Frazier, who have been up and down this year, will probably be your guards in this one. And let's hope we can shore up the middle with that. It does concern me a little bit, though, because Auburn does have some muscle on that defensive line. So I am concerned. I am concerned, okay? But yes, Dellinger has not been playing center. He's been playing left guard. So the backup center to Charles Turner, it's a good question, right? Do we know who the starting OL with Big D out, who is a backup center? It's a good question, John. And John, welcome to the channel. Everyone welcome John. He's got a cigar. He's got the LSU flag in the background. I would say the offensive line I would start would be Frazier at left guard and Bradford at right guard. That's what I would do. Okay. And I think that's what BK will do. Right. We'll see. I didn't get to listen to all of Brian Kelly's press conference. Okay, so you're concerned about the backup center. Good. That's a good question. So Super Dad Tyler, I would say the backup center is probably Marlon Martinez. That's who got the backup center snaps last week. So we shall see what happens there. Come on. Give him plenty, Shaggy. That's a Z, baby. Ha, 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 ha. But yeah, Tyler, I think, for me, I'll hang out a little bit long. If Tyler jumps into a chat, I'm down to hang out. Ha, ha, ha. Where do I get my autograph cards from? Second time I've been asked this. It's crazy. A wide variety of places. Some are a lot lately have just been given to me. Just because people know that I collect cards. And yeah, it's definitely cool. But a lot's eBay. But you can get them in a lot of different places. So yeah, there we go. Shout out to one of my number one fans, Gracie. She just celebrated a big, 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 big birthday. Gracie's getting up there. Halfway or past halfway now to the big 1-0. Shout out to you, Gracie. That's my little girl right there. Let's go. We need to get Z a PHL shirt. Shout out to Dane, Casey, the whole crew. BK didn't seem too sure what he was going to do if Turner went down. Yeah, I think for me, Tyler, Martinez is going to be the guy. And that's where I'd go because, look, as Arkansas proved last week versus Texas A&M, the most important thing the center does is snap, right? You can live with a mediocre blocker at center if you know the snap is going to be good every time. Because Marlon Martinez was the one who was snapping last week, he should be the backup center because the snap is more important, right? So I am going to go Marlon Martinez if he is the backup center, if for some reason Turner were to go down. Okay? Rico, good to see you. I have a feeling Rico's going to join the PHL T-shirt club tonight. Don't forget, Power Hour SEC. I have a feeling this channel right here is going to get me to 600 subs tonight. I feel like we can get 7 more subs out of the 67 of you that's watching this. Okay? I have a feeling we are going to get to 600 subs. Fitzgerald West? Ooh, that would be a tough spot for a true freshman. What I would prefer, Tyler, is Fitzgerald get a red shirt this year and, build him up. I do think when it comes to positions, I do feel outside of quarterback, really, the most important position that you need to maintain most important position you need to maintain red shirts is offensive line, because according to a study by J. Bud Davis, I have learned that offensive linemen transfer the least. So it's hard to get offensive linemen from the portal, right? That's different than JUCO offensive linemen. 2019 had 2 big JUCO offensive linemen. One was a starter in Damian Lewis, and the other was Badori Traore as a backup. But most offensive lines are built with players that you recruit. So at this point, Tyler, I would prefer Fitzgerald West to, just get better, focus on, getting better every day, and focus on being the center of the future. Now, what is Charles Turner's situation going to look like after this year? Well, he's going to have a ton of eligibility left, a ton. I'm guessing Charles Turner has at least 1 more year of eligibility, so maybe not a whole lot. Let me see. So 2019, 2020, yeah, he does have a ton of eligibility left. So he still has 2 more years of eligibility, Charles Turner. So 2019, he only played in 3 games, doesn't count. 2020 doesn't count. So 2021, 2022, this is only year 2. So he's got 2 more years to play 2 years. So the state of Cali has the most Heisman Trophy winners. This is very interesting. It shows Louisiana only has 1. I'm confused. Yeah, Joe Burrow's from Ohio. The 1 Heisman Trophy winner from Louisiana would be Billy Cannon, right? Or wait, I don't remember where Billy Cannon's from. He's from Mississippi. So, Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith would be the only one from Louisiana. So, yeah. It's kind of painful, just to be honest. Look at that. I gained 1 sub. I love it. Freaking love it. Oh, no, Ty, I fully agree. I know you weren't. It was more of what there is behind them. And it is a concern. No, you're bringing up a very good concern, right? And look, this is always the case with every offensive line from the beginning to the end of time, right? one of 2011's few but best offensive traits was that offensive line was very deep, right? T-Bob was the sixth. Sometimes he was a six. Sometimes he started. But you one of those guys can get hurt, and that offensive line was very deep, very talented. So yeah, that's the benefit of it. You got to have a deep offensive line. There you go, Lloyd. I appreciate that. Oh, there we go. We got another patron. Good stuff. Congrats, John. You've joined the Patreon. I'm going to send you a link to get you in the Discord tonight. There we go, John. Congratulations. That was you, Rico. You're a subscriber 594. Congrats, man. I appreciate you. There we go. We're at the 595 now. Went to Estruma. That's cool. I didn't know he went to Estruma. That's dope. I wish Skipper was in here. Skipper's like a Billy Cannon super fan. He might still be in here. I don't know. They very well might. That's until they get beat by Tennessee later this year. So, hi, what's good? I'll play the clip again. I played it, I think, 3 times tonight. So I think a few of you that have been watching since the beginning are a little tired of it. He said he's better than KAYSHON. Yeah, Tyler, but we took a few deep shots. Not deep shots, but to defend JAYDEN when it comes to the deep shots, they do play a lot of off coverage, right? They do play a lot. Okay? So it's really hard. James, I appreciate you retweeting me. Thank you. Oh, there's my best buddy right there. It is hard to hit deep shots when they're playing off. Okay? When they are playing off coverage. What up, Danny? Danny. Meant to say this at the beginning. But what a fantastic voyage. RIP to the legend Coolio. I got to meet Coolio I think 7 or 8 years ago. Man, what a career. I'd forgotten that he had that sick track on the Space Jam soundtrack. So I freaking love me some Coolio. Obviously, he'll be known for Gangster's Paradise and Fantastic Voyage, but man, and it's kind of crazy. It's like Coolio dies, and you hear all these stories. Like, there's all these crazy stories about DMX. Everybody's got their own DMX story. That's just nuts. That doesn't make any sense. And a lot of people shared some Coolio stories that there was a hidden verse to Gangster's Paradise, and the only public time he did it was after a show just at somebody's apartment that he went by and they pulled out an acoustic guitar and he did the hidden verse to it. It's crazy. If you're a real music lover, it was all over Twitter today. It was nuts. But yeah, RIP to one of the GOATs fan. No, it is Z scratching the door. I don't know what Haley's doing. I guess Z is just not used to me going on this early. Koy's a good player, but was I really that high on him? I thought he was good, not great. I was called a Koy hater. I really was. In fact, somebody close to Koy reached out to me and said, "Hey, Koy had a good game for Auburn last week." But Danny just joined. We'll hang out for a little bit more if Danny just jumped on. I can't. I can't just leave with Danny hanging out. I guess I'd have to go back and listen. Always appreciated Koy's work ethic, though. He did work hard. I'll give him that. McDaniel. What a beast. Well, all right. Part of the reason why I started this early is because I knew I wasn't gonna compete against Joe Burrow in prime time. I even have let's see if we got close to 600. Nope, still 595. It's all good. This live stream wasn't near as wild as our last one that featured cannibalism, elk backstrap, Ja Rule. We had a little bit of everything. No, Danny, I started it early. So there you go. I'm a Joe Burrow color rush jersey in the background. How about that? Huh? All right, I remember you. Still a letter avatar, though. You guys know I will call out letter avatars. I feel like it should be mandatory to have an avatar, something. So there you go. I guess I got to go watch Tua get destroyed. I've always liked Tua. When Tua was coming out, I remember I just gotten it was like the first or second year of me having a radio show. I thought he should have started like day one over Jalen Hurts. His high school film was so much fun to watch. And man, he was good. But just all these injuries. And on my football card show, my NFL show, I was like, sell Tua. Even if he's good, he gets hurt. And he's played really well. He's been really freaking good. Only a handful of quarterbacks have been better than him. Joe looks off. Well, now I got to go back and rewatch all of Joe's snaps. Well, I appreciate each and every one of you on a very laid-back live stream. I want to say thanks again to Vernon Speaks Auburn. Vernon was a great guest with us tonight. Like I say, I'm never going to have a bad guest on here. We are batting 1,000. We might eventually have a bad guest or one that's not compelling, but every single guest that we've had has been phenomenal. Don't know exactly why that is. That is rarely the case. You can have a lot of bad guests in the media business. So I don't know why everyone's been exceptional. Oh yeah, it's because like I make sure that they're exceptional. Like I actually go watch their stuff or I see if they're interesting. And yeah, once again, invites for LSU current players. You're always welcome to jump on our live streams. Okay. We will be chatting in the Discord. So I will be talking with Danny, Walter, James, Skipper. Yeah, Vernon was really open. And as look, Vernon's higher on LSU than a lot of us. I mean, he really believes in Brian Kelly and LSU. You could tell. I'll be talking with Tyler in the Discord as well. So if you're not in the Discord, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/LSU football. In fact, our newest Discordian, John G, we're going to get you all linked up, ready to go so you can chat with us. It's obviously a great way to get access to all my private film studies. If you are a big Garrett Nussmeier fan, I broke down every Garrett Nussmeier throw versus New Mexico. That is currently live on patreon.com/LSU football. And there was some disagreement on some of my breakdowns on that. And that's a good thing. I'm always open to be, disagreed with. Okay. So we'll see you in the Patreon. I appreciate all the support. Okay. It is Power Hour LSU. Bam. So, all right. One final thing. You guys know I always do one final thing. Okay. He's not in here, and he's going to hate me for doing this, all right? But the truth is this. I support PHLers in their ventures, okay? I'll make sure I'm getting this right. All right. Oh, we're not done just yet, Bubs. I don't know. Hey, there's a baby. She's already been on here tonight. No, not yet. I got this one final thing. So, our guy Van Lathan, new show. All right. Hip Hop Homicides. All right. Now, there's Van right there. 50 Cent. Big opportunity for Van. So when this comes out, I'm obviously going to, we talked something about hip hop on here. We talked about Coolio a little bit earlier. So yeah, very excited for this opportunity for Van. And yeah. Hats are ordered. Okay. So that will be the next thing. They're ordered. And Jared, there is another merch item that you've wanted that will be in production pretty soon as well. So we'll see you guys later. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom. And tonight, we're doing chicken quesadillas tonight. Let's go. Let's go.